So this is Chapter 7, Photosynthesis, using light to make food. So plants use photosynthesis to convert sunshine and CO2 and water into food and oxygen. Plants fix carbon, which means they make the carbon available as an organic molecule to use by animals. You can't build proteins or fats out of carbon dioxide, but you can out of sugars and the other things, the other organic molecules that plants make for us. So we have a name for self-feeders. They're autotropes. Auto, meaning self, and tropes is a fancy word for food or feeders. So these are creatures that are able to make their own food, and they are the producers of our ecosystems. They feed the community. Now, there are two types of autotropes. We have photoautotropes. These are the plants that use sunlight to make food. So this is corn, beans, the tree outside your window, the grass, are all photoautotropes. There are also organisms called chemoautotropes, and they use organic chemicals as their food, and you find them on deep sea vents. So not everything is sunlight based. So these plants make food, I've already mentioned that, but they also make clothing, think cotton. They provide housing. Most of our houses have wood frames. They provide energy for warmth, light, transportation, and manufacturing. If we count fossil fuels as well, our fossil fuels like coal, natural gas, and oil are stores of energy from long dead plants. So a long time ago, fossil fuels were plants. So we are a heterotrope or consumer. We can't make our own food, and we depend on autotropes. And so most animals are heterotrophs. So photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplasts, and we're going to look here at this diagram. Chlorophyll is the light-absorbing compound that causes the green color that we see in leaves. So it's going to play a very central role in photosynthesis. This is the pigment that's going to absorb the energy from the sun that will then be transmitted into chemical energy. If we look at our cross-section of our leaf here, we see cells. There, I've circled one of them. These are mesophyll tissues. These are the green tissues that we find in the center. Meso means middle. So think middle when you think meso. So it's in the middle of a leaf, and each of mesophyll is going to have many chloroplasts. So chloroplasts, we've already had this when we talked about cells. This is where photosynthesis happens. Also, we want to note in this cell, there are little holes or mouths called stomata. These are tiny pores that allow oxygen to leave the cell. Remember, that's a waste product if you're a plant, and for CO2 to enter. Here we have a photograph, probably from a light microscope, of a mesophyll cell. And in the black box, we have a single chlorophyll. So if we look inside our chlorophyll at this kind of cartoonish, we have the structures inside the chlorophyll. So the chlorophyll has an inner and an outer membrane. So there we have the outer membrane, and then the inner membrane is the second one. Inside the inner membrane, we have a thylakoid. The thylakoids are a disc-shaped sac that encloses a thylakoid space. Now, if you have a stack of thylakoids, we call that a granula. And so the granula would be the entire stack here. Okay, inside there, the innermost compartment has a thick fluid that we call the stroma. So the summary equation of photosynthesis was known in the 1800s, but it was not known whether the oxygen gas that's given off came from the carbon dioxide or the water. So let's look at the summary equation. First, we have to have light energy. We all know that plants don't grow in the dark. And we need carbon dioxide. 6 carbon dioxides plus 6 waters will give us a sugar, glucose. And it will also give us 6 oxygen molecules. But like I said, this equation was known for a long time, but they didn't know where this oxygen was coming from. So they did a couple of experiments. They found there's a radioactive form of oxygen. And so what they did is in the first experiment, they fed the plant radioactive carbon dioxide. That's why the oxygen here is in red. And they found that all the radioactivity ended up being in the sugar, none of it in the oxygen gas that was being given off. So they did a second experiment. In the second experiment, they gave a different set of plants radioactive water. And they found that when they gave the plants radioactive water, all the radioactivity ended up in the oxygen. So the oxygen that's given off is coming from the oxygen in water. So let's compare photosynthesis and cellular respiration. We're going to see a lot of parallels here. In photosynthesis, we have energy on the reactant side, and we have carbon dioxide being reduced to a sugar and water being oxidized to oxygen. If we look at cellular respiration, here the glucose, the sugar, is being oxidized back to CO2, and the oxygen is being reduced back to water. So they're kind of just opposite reactions. Photosynthesis requires energy. The energy is on the reactant side, and cellular respiration produces energy. And we have ATP and heat, which represent energy on the product side. Now we're going to find that photosynthesis occurs in 2 stages, and the 2 stages are linked by ATP and NADPH. So the first stage is called the light reactions, and it's on the left side of the diagram here. First, we're inside the chloroplast, this thing that goes all the way around. That's the double membrane of the chloroplast. Here's some light, and it shines on the thylakoid stack, and the thylakoids take water and produce oxygen. They also produce ATP and NADPH. NADPH is very similar to NADH that we find in the mitochondria. There's just a small modification in the construction. Okay, so the light reactions are going to take NADP positive and ADP and a phosphate, and they will make ATP and NADPH. So these high energy molecules will then be used by the Calvin cycle. And when I was in school, we called this we had the light reactions and the dark reactions. It's better named now to just call it the Calvin cycle, because the dark reactions, the Calvin cycle, occurs in the daytime as well. So here we have CO2 comes into the Calvin cycle. It uses these high energy molecules and it makes sugar or glucose. So the light reactions occur in the thylakoids and convert light energy to chemical energy. The process splits water to provide electrons and releases oxygen gas. Electrons are carried by NADPH to the Calvin cycle. These reactions, the light reactions, do not make sugar. They only make the high energy molecules of NADPH and ATP. In the Calvin cycle, which occurs in the stroma, the sugar molecules are assembled using ATP and the products of the light reaction, the high energy molecules.